time. We have Consulate as our third map, need we remind you. So let's get things going with the ban phase here. It's going to be a glass ban from Reciprocity onto FaZe.
Inverse stats leading into the match, but will we see inverse results is the question. And I don't know, to be honest. The way that these teams have been playing, Reciprocity looking top form. We've seen the back and forth, though, happen in these best-of-3 series a lot during this tournament. So I wouldn't be surprised. I just don't know if I expect it. Glaz and Habana going to be our two-band attacking operators, and we've got Echo also being eliminated here.
These are very common FaZe bans, especially for Bank.
Yeah, just in general, all of this being pretty common. And
yeah,
there's the Telltale Valk ban from Reciprocity, which they have been committed to for pretty much this whole tournament. I don't know if they've actually banned... No, they have. They have, but I think only once. They've been pretty consistently banning nothing but Valk.
They don't like playing against her.
Yeah, I get it.
That's it. They just don't like her.
I get it. I understand. And especially against Latin American teams, it can be a crippling blow. But we've talked about this in the past quite a lot, actually. Latin America, Valk is their operator. So not surprising in the least that Reciprocity have been getting rid of it against the opponents they've been playing. We're going to be seeing a basement defense, it looks like, first things first. And Reciprocity will get to defend first. And that's 2 defenses in a row to start things off. We got Coastline and Bank. That's a really good setup for Reciprocity. I'm surprised that they managed to get that. FaZe clearly has some plans on attack, and we'll see how they can make that happen. We've got a Montaigne again, but we saw in the past that Montaigne was a non-factor for FaZe when on Coastline. He will be much more useful, I believe, on Bank. Also worth noting, Laxing is going to get to play Vigil. FaZe Clan unable to ban that. They had to get rid of the Echo. I understand that because you need more operators specifically designed and taken from server on this map. And so unlike Coastline, you do not have the flexibility to play an IQ. Thus, you need to ban the Echo to have any hope of attacking down in server. At least based on the way that FaZe Clan are organizing their operator selection. So that's, I suppose, a smart ban. But again, it frees up Reciprocity.
Now, there's been some confusion with the way that FaZe Clan plays this Monty strat on CCTV on the bottom floor of Bank. Number one, Montaigne does not block the destruction that happens behind him if a C4 goes off. The planter behind a Montaigne will...
He can block the C4.
He can block the C4, but the person behind him still takes full damage. Now, so...
No, I mean, like, he can stop the C4, if but he can't block the damage itself.
Correct. So, essentially what ends up happening is... Oh, no! Astro goes down. Fox a very brazen early play inside of stock trading. And he'll head for the hills. It's a big pick. And he'll get under the skin of FaZe within moments of this match starting. Please, Reciprocity, let me finish my thought here. So, essentially the way that FaZe will play this is they will blow open the one panel that leads to the server rack downstairs. They will have the Montaigne go in. Yuna will essentially act as a drone, try to bait out utility, and then the plant that goes down behind it, which is almost always Moringa, will be able to get that information and continuously back up. C4 is itself not blocked at all by the shield. Very commonplace, by the way, for Reciprocity and anybody is to play aggressively on server stairs, which is where Skies is going to play. A lot of teams won't barricade that double door, though, in towards open area. One ADS has been burned out. Skies is just waiting for a push as he will lose the cover from the deployable shield, and here comes the Montaigne. And I will imagine that the Jaeger will fall off.
He has no choice, really. Impact's going to do a little bit of damage, but a little. Keywords here. Sprays coming out from Skies, and ooh, missed shots from Mav, going to result in Skies falling all the way back. No punishment for wasting 2 whole minutes. That's a successful roam if I've ever seen one. And he's going to be a huge player moving forward, probably going to be the late flank from Reciprocity when it comes down to the actual site push. Some open holes here from Retro, so you can use the bars to your advantage as a defender. Long angles into A on the default plant spot. There's not a whole lot of time here for FaZe Clan, as they really need to start putting the pedal to the metal if they want to have any hope of winning this one. Gas canisters still in play. Those have full effect on the shield, of course, and Yuna's going to have to fall back. There's 2 gas canisters. Still plenty of time here for FaZe, all things considered, but Yuna's on low HP, so it's not an ideal situation. Last gas canister. That's some really poor pacing from Reciprocity, but it might not matter because the C4 is still in play.
only one C4, worth noting. So if you can keep Mark held down, then, well, it's going to be a major problem. Cameraman guns down Laxing. C4 gets put away. Mark,
wait,
you got to pull the trigger.
Where's the plant happening?
Moringa's going down with the plant. Mark will take out Mav and rush on in. There's a body that gets taken down. C4 gets tossed. Oh, it's a double down. Oh my goodness, Mark the Shark. He guns them all in a terrific play. What a clutch from Mark. And Reciprocity will start things off in stunning fashion here with an explosive finish. And Reciprocity well on their way through one round at least to continue the success that they found on map 1.
I like the idea there from FaZe, but I really don't like the execution. Of course, they didn't have enough manpower. They wasted a lot of time on server. They at no point punished Reciprocity. If you take yourself back to Coastline, the only round FaZe managed to win is the one round where they seriously punished the roamers from Reciprocity. They got 2 picks early on, and they managed to outmuscle the anchors on the Reciprocity side. FaZe got no picks in server, and they wasted a ton of time. Following that, their setup for the plant just inside a server, it was pretty smart. Team Reciprocity's pacing on the smoke, the gas canisters, was not amazing. They only had the 1 C4 to back it up, which put them in a tricky spot. But because the C4 landed, of course, it did enough damage to down both of the planters. The point I'm trying to get to here is that Reciprocity themselves were deceived by the plant. They didn't see it coming. You saw the mirror staring right at the Montaigne, but he had no idea the Thermite was behind. So it was an awesome setup from FaZe, just not enough manpower in the long run. And again, no early picks made the post plant pretty abysmal. And the C4 just, I mean, that's the final nail in the coffin there for FaZe. 1 kill there, by the way, for FaZe. That whole round, near perfect from Reciprocity. They're going to go to CEO, and that's going to be a, well, it's a primary site for a lot of teams these days, or the secondary site for others, so not a terrible surprise.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
No Montaigne being brought here from FaZe. They have brought Thermite. They're expecting to attack the top floor. Montaigne is useful here, but there's mostly just a lot of long angles on the top floor, and you 9 times out of 10 want to have a rifle to play those long angles instead of somebody who can block the shots from the defenders. Operator selection making a lot of sense here for FaZe.
You're not going to bring a Montaigne up to CEO, not the same way, I would say. You
No,
gamble it on
can,
that basement.
But you're not going to. It's actually a Teller's defense, so I was mistaken. But they're going to be defending it from Tellers, and holding above in CEO. And it's an extended roam here from Reciprocity. So it's a bit of a deceptive hold, but it makes sense. This is something we've seen a lot of on this site, or just in general when you have vertical play being so prevalent anywhere.
Yuna's lost most of his HP at this point. You've usually got Mav playing on the buck. They put Yuna on it. It's going to give him a set of frag grenades similar to the way that he plays the Finka. But what's the thought process behind this?
The Finka?
No, the thought process behind moving Mav off to the Jackal, putting Yuna, not Ying, putting Yuna.
Today, man.
Yeah, it's okay. So, it's something to definitely keep mind of. Mav gone, Laxing takes him out. MP7 too much to handle. There's a number of members on both sides that have lost a fair amount of their life. Foxay and Skies, both in positions where Foxay not so much for a reset, but Skies definitely primed for one. Now with the site being Teller's Archives down on that main floor, your control of the second floor up in CEO is so important. So much utility was used to try and hold off the attackers. That's all fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, there's also still the Buck in play. As you mentioned, Yuna going to be playing on that role, and he can now start opening up a bunch of holes, cutting off rotations between sides, disabling the anchor positions that are so common on these on this site. So this is a really good position for FaZe to find themselves in, especially considering so many of Team Reciprocity are lit up. Skies hasn't been reset because there's no time and no position to do that. Yuna's going to take out Mark as he gets a little static, but it will be a refrag from Retro. Surprise, he says to Yuna, and present death. FaZe Clan still in a good position, having lit up many of the Reciprocity players, but overall a much better position for Reciprocity, especially after Astro missed that shot.
Retro and Skies are just a bullet away from death for both of these teams, which would be a lopsided affair for FaZe Clan, who would find themselves back in the driver's seat when it comes to numbers. Still FaZe languishing. Upstairs, not a lot of opportunity for them to be able to transition in towards the site. Got Moringa down, ready to go for a possible plant, but he'll walk right into the smoke. Takes so much damage. Astro finishes off Skies, and it's a diffuser going down on behalf of Moringa. But he gets gunned down from Laxing. Oh no, and there's only 3 seconds. This is very easy for Reciprocity to hold on, and Astro's upstairs, nowhere nearby, not even in the same postal code. And while he does get the final kill of the round, it's the clock that runs out, and it's Reciprocity taking the first 2.
I was deceived. I thought it was a defensive CEO based on the way the Reciprocity was playing at the beginning of the round. And it was a defense of the CEO, but the actual site in Tellers. Tellers being the best bomb site on this map statistically, having the highest defender win rate. Reciprocity taking full advantage of that. We've seen a lot of teams actually ignore Tellers recently, which is curious, but Reciprocity not one of those teams. They're gonna go to CEO this time around, proper CEO, defending the top floor, and because of that, bringing 2 ACOGs in Rook and Doc. This is we were in a Rook and Doc meta. I remember back in Season 2. You're in Season 9 now. It's odd to see both of them brought, but it makes sense on the top floor of Bank because, again, as we discussed, a lot of long angles up here. Worth noting that, again, FaZe did bring an operator lineup to attack CEO. The last time they attacked, it was for Tellers, but this time they're going to bring a similar one, and it will be, once again, an attack on the top floor that is necessary. Last time was Roam Theater, this time it'll be the anchors, but still necessary.
The executes from FaZe so far through these 2 matches have been really
bad.
pitiful.
Yeah.
10 seconds left.
I use the word languish. I think that applies.
Lingering.
They basically just, they linger. They loiter,
5 seconds left.
Loitering.
tread water.
Yeah. They're
Think about
very
how
timid.
much. Think about how much
Trepidation.
Cover the bomb diffuser.
Reciprocity's setup went into that second floor, as you mentioned in CEO.
Yeah.
1 mirror window, 2 castle barricades, all of the ammo to be able to open up lines of sight. And what happened? FaZe took control of it in what, 1 minute and 10 seconds?
Yeah.
And then did almost nothing with it. You had Astro, who was upstairs, doing a good job of patrolling the openings that had been created by Yuna, but Yuna loses a fight that he didn't really need to take. Could have possibly stayed up there doing more soft destruction. Helped Moringa, who was downstairs in lobby, all by his lonesome. Finally, you get Cameraman to jump in, but he's way too late. Moringa walks into the Lion's Den with 0 cover. It's a very easy finish. It plants in the line of sight next to an ejected mirror window.
I mean, to be fair to FaZe, that was their second best attack so far.
Of the day?
Of the day. That was their second best attack of the day. To be fair to them. You said it right. They didn't make a whole lot of work get done with control of that top floor, but they did a little bit. A little.
They're making much better time here of CEO.
Yeah.
And these walls are soft.
Wait, they're soft?
These walls appear to be
Parker,
soft.
are the walls soft?
The walls are as soft as a pair of well-moisturized hands, Michael.
I have
Well,
no idea.
the right wall is actually.
Yeah, one of them's reinforced. So this is curious. The way that Reciprocity have decided to set themselves up. Obviously, they figure it's a foregone conclusion the wall would be open. It makes sense. FaZe is going to repel on north windows. You cannot impact trick. When there's an attacker repelling on north windows, you're too exposed. Reciprocity's not even going to try. Moringa will take out Laxing, so there goes your Legion. It's a very good pick, and even Laxing appreciates the shot, as you can see. The respect between adversaries.
You got them typing in chat. That's always a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
So, oh, there's Sky's a nice long angle. Playing all the way from over in Janitorial to take out Cameraman, and the Ashes just completely unaware. FaZe really need to get their drone work in order if they want to try to keep this together. And now, Michael, we see exactly why that wall was left soft. Because the mirror window that's going to look from Conference into Janitor will be held down by Skies as he can hold that long angle with the MP5. First logic bomb seems to strike the site. It's an opportunity for FaZe to be able to go for an execute. And Moringa is in. And off to the races they will go. But Skies is there amidst the smoke. There's Moringa going for the plant. Skies, you gotta hurry if you're gonna try to take out the thermite. Can't do it, your team's fallen by the wayside. Yuna picks up 2, and FaZe downstairs will be Reciprocity's sole survivor. It's a successful plant for FaZe, and a good round, ultimately, all things considered. What looks like a almost foregone conclusion here that FaZe will be unable to cut through the 4 remaining members. So slash and dash his way up the stairs. He's got the Moringa sitting at the top. Thermite just waiting and watching, and he can't beat the marble banners. Moringa can, and that's an easy lockout for FaZe. And yes, Michael, there you have it. The best attacking round that we've seen so far from FaZe. It works out quite well.
And their second attacking win for the day. Solid strategy there from FaZe. They were a little bit slow on the execute. I would say they lingered, as you would say. It was still successful, though, and that's all that really matters in the end, I suppose. Overall, I'd say the real problem is probably the way the Reciprocity chose to handle that. Could you imagine if Skies had been hitting those shots, spraying towards the bomb chassis? The smokes doing their job, protecting the Thermite and Moringa, allowing for the plant. And that's really all that matters. FaZe did, though, plant in the dying seconds of the round. So potentially a really bad round there. Gone the way of FaZe. And we talked about it earlier. The way that FaZe has been winning their attack rounds is usually only an option if they're punishing Reciprocity on the roam. Reciprocity were not roaming, not really that round. They had some, but it was not a real strategy. The ones that existed were punished, and more importantly, the anchors got picked off way too early from Reciprocity, despite FaZe having a very slow attack.
10 seconds to go.
There you go. So you complete the rotation, go back downstairs to CCTV, and ultimately it was Mark C4 that came in so clutch. Final seconds there to be able to take out the two members of FaZe post-plant, despite the fact that FaZe, through these 3 rounds, have actually gotten the diffuser down twice. One time they won the round, one time they did not. So it goes, they say. Back on the Monty will be Yuna. No Finka this time, at least not so far through the 3 rounds.
So, FaZe now could be attacking from the balcony once again, but this time onto a different site. It'll be basement. Site that Reciprocity had pretty good success on, thanks to their roam inside of server. Looks like they might commit to that once again. No Jaeger this time, and it's going to be a lot harder for Skies to roam here because of that. The nades and the flashes will really swiftly push him off this position, but he's still going to commit to it using the cardiac sensor to his advantage.
Has left the area of operation.
Lack of a Jaeger is going to be a huge advantage for FaZe. They have plenty of smoke to work with, in fact 3 sets, and that will allow them to pace this attack into server extremely well. Still, again, a slow attack, though.
That's been FaZe's MO, though.
Yeah, I mean...
FaZe's MO is they don't seem to be able to get their drones working as effectively as they want. They seem to be bamboozled by a lot of this information, which is kind of strange on a CCTV defense, which does tend to play out so similarly.
They're doing their best. They've got control of server, and with decent efficiency, if you've got more than a minute after you get control of server, that's a good job. That's a good job. And I'd say FaZe having a much better round than the last time they were attacking this site.
They're going to open both of these panels, though, which is a bit of a difference. FaZe doesn't usually open the northern panel. They'll open the eastern panel instead, and then just simply sit and wait. This information and cover that is going to be provided by the Pulse is so important. And it's an early tempo being set here. Logic bombs will be raining out on Reciprocity just to try and hold them down, but it's going to be a lot of time that gets bought. I believe we also saw a C4 go down and didn't net any targets. Nobody from FaZe's side of things really lost any HP. Still waiting to see if there's going to be an execute at any point. And those smoke canisters, for the time being, are going to get tossed out from Retro. Just to try to choke Yuna off, who's lost about half of his HP. This execute's going to have to happen. But good timing, all things considered, from FaZe. They've used most of Reciprocity's time. They've used most of Reciprocity's utility, and not a lot of tools are left. As hatches being poked at from the Maverick above will keep Reciprocity just simply waiting in sight. Cameraman watching the push up the stairs as the diffuser goes down from FaZe. Oh! A great connect from Skies, takes out Moringa, and just inside of the site is Yuna so low, Astro will need to cover as both Mav and Cameraman pick one up. Astro, great work, but Mark is in! Again! Does he see the plant going down? Yuna finished off. Mark is so clutch. Mav has the control of the mirror window, but Cameraman cut down Mark! The clutch, and it's Retro to finish things off! FaZe struggling so hard to translate anything from action into success on the site. And in the dying seconds, Mark comes in swinging and knocks them all down 2 times on the same site.
So what happened there? FaZe Clan, decent execution, much better efficiency, than any attack we've ever seen from them so far. In fact, on a base level, I would say one of the best attacks from FaZe throughout the day. But they didn't expect Mark to vault over the desk in the middle of sight through the smoke. And he did. He picked up kill after kill. He got the cover. He denied the defuse plant. Then it was easy rotation into server. Once he had control of server, I mean, the round was over. So little time for FaZe to recover. They had the manpower for it, but not the time, as I said. The real question for me is, why did FaZe put so much of their muscle on flank watch and drop down pushes? They needed at least one other person covering from server, and they didn't have that. A serious misallocation of players, and it cost FaZe dearly. Also, again, and it's weird to say because usually the problem for FaZe has been in droning out roamers, but again, a lack of information being relayed on the side of FaZe. A serious communication issue going on for their team. I don't know if you noticed it, Parker, and this happened a while ago, but for a little while, we saw FaZe Clan, a few of their players seem to be having a little bit of an argument. The turned monitors, hey, look what's going on my screen.
Well, Unit does turn his monitor.
It's true.
When Unit plays Montaigne, he turns his monitor so that his teammates can see what's going on behind him. And usually where Unit turns it to is over towards Mav and Moringa's side of things, so Moringa can actually see.
Of course.
So he has that information.
It's absolutely fair, but it seemed as though they were having a bit of a debate. Maybe a heated one, because, and that would be in line with what we're seeing right now, because FaZe's attack strategies have been, I mean, the communication is the real issue here. That's the story I'm trying to get at. FaZe Clan are gathering information much better than they had on Coastline. Just curious, considering how much more there is on, how much more there is to clear on Bank, but they're not relaying that information amazingly well.
Yeah, that's the story. And I mean, like I said, if you don't rely on your teammates to be able to help you out, if your entries are not getting the support that they need from drones, if you are not getting the calls that you need and the usage of utility that they need, you find yourself in a position where it's very easy for that animosity amongst yourself and your opponents and your teammates to fester and let your opponents collapse in on that. There's a missed C4, by the way, as Skies looks like he's all but dead inside of CEO. I think Yuno is looking to possibly get it, finish it off with a frag grenade kill, but this is a great entry for FaZe. They take out FaZe. They don't really need that much information to relay, as Astro playing on Banana can possibly walk right in. Skies is still there. Oh! And essentially from the grave, Skies will take him down, but I don't know what you're doing. Maybe trying to check his phone, I'm not entirely sure, but Skies gets felled by Astro, and it'll be a pickup on the cameraman. FaZe, man, they recover quite well there.
Yeah, they're starting to get things in line. That was a very good attack onto the top floor. We don't know if it's the internal strife or if it's just been poor communication so far, but that round was stellar. It's not over yet, though. Laxing's still on the roam. It's just horizontal. He'll be playing an open area, likely with a rotation back into archives. This makes sense, especially considering now that the attackers have control vertically, they're going to start opening up a lot of holes above. And if you can play offsite, you can still deny the plant. Rotation is actually going to be by the main stairs. That's less of a rotation, more of a murder hole. From that angle, he could deny the plant inside of Tellers, allowing his teammates to defend mainly archives. I
know that Laxing likes to play this lone wolf role on his teams, but he really needs to be able to get back at some point. You can't keep him on this dedicated flank watch while everyone's dying around him. Poor Retro's going to be all on his lonesome now. for a couple seconds. This is a lockout from FaZe for the time being. It's a perfect round. Laxing will not be able to take one down, and FaZe finds some momentum that they really, really need to get themselves back in this game. They still trail Reciprocity. Rec will at least walk away with 3 of the 6 rounds on defense, as it's a successful win for FaZe on Tellers, and we'll go towards the very final site for Team Reciprocity's first defense.
Looks like it's going to be Tellers once again from Reciprocity. So, that last round mainly came down to the ease of access FaZe had to the top floor. There was a lack of utility investment from Reciprocity, allowing for some soft destruction and 2 free kills essentially upstairs because those 2 players on the roam on the top floor were caught off guard. Not expecting the aggression that FaZe were dishing out, and as FaZe took full advantage, Reciprocity fell by the wayside. The anchors were suffering. Why? Because vertical control was lost. As soon as you learn that vertical, or lose that vertical control on this site, pretty much ends the round, especially if you're relying primarily on the anchors. And Reciprocity certainly were. All they had, as far as roaming goes, was Laxing, and it just wasn't enough. He didn't have enough access to the site as well. There was no rotation between Archives and Small Office. Not a great setup there for Reciprocity. They need to invest heavier in the top floor, and I think hold it a lot firmer. A Mira would be a good option here, I think, to hold this site, but they're not going to commit to that. Going full fragger. They've got the Ella, the Vigil.
5 seconds left.
Dedicated fragging operators. They've got the Pulse as their solo information op, unless you count the Guzmats. Some people do, some people don't.
Oh, hello.
This is a spawn peek as well. The aggression from Reciprocity is kind of ridiculous. And oh, the timing there. He would have gotten that kill. Camera did not check it until he already saw it was open. So that would have been a free kill there for Skies. It's one of those ones, or pardon me, Mark. It's one of those ones where when you look back and you see the VOD, you're like, oh no, whoops.
Trying to buy some time with the Taze on the FaZe's castle. FaZe enjoys the UMP very much, so it makes very I was going to say very little sense to put him on another operator. It makes a lot of sense as he's the Invisigun, a new equipment that has been unlocked.
He fixed it.
There you go. He hit the Vigil gun. It's okay. Skies on Vigil is also something that is kind of strange because we haven't seen him run it in a while. It used to be one of his mainstays when he was back on Counter Logic and sometimes on Obey as well.
I think we were seeing Laxing playing the Vigil, and he's on Ella instead.
There's been an awful lot of flexibility. Look at the Pulse on Mark.
Yeah.
You've seen Laxing play Pulse. You've seen FaZe play Pulse. And Reciprocity's ability to just change up which operators they use is an advantage.
It certainly is.
So, back to Tellers we go. And this setup that we have on the soft wall by main stairs is very common. I don't think Laxing got droned as he manages to take out some of the intel that is going to be available to FaZe Clan. And drone usage from FaZe.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Mark, what are you doing, Mark?
Mark, hello?
A huge mistake, and FaZe is going to take full advantage. They have control of Archives. Retro's going to get a double piece, though, on the entry, and a third for Retro. What a hold out of Archives. He's finally shut down by Astro, but the damage is done. It's a 2v2 as Cameraman eliminates FaZe elsewhere. Laxing can rotate back, but he doesn't know the plant is happening. What are you doing, Laxing? Go for a retake. Cameraman gets his second on Skies. It's Laxing behind now, the attacker. He can potentially go for the disable. Vertical control from Camera is probably going to be an easy denial, but nobody's paying attention. Camera goes for a drop, and Astro's going to shut down Laxing, and a great timing there from FaZe to seize control of Archives and take the round, ending our half 3-3.
Man, that was vintage Skies and Laxing.
Yeah.
That reminds me of so many Elevate and CLG games where Skies and Laxing are not connected to anybody on site. The site push happens, your support players call for help, and there's no cover at all. And that's exactly what happened there. But keep in mind that overall, Reciprocity is playing as a much tighter unit than we have seen from previous teams that both Skies and Laxing have been on. However, like I said, there's so many matches where Skies and Laxing are just off somewhere in essentially La La Land. The map control they held wasn't really consequential.
As many bombs as they can.
And they end up falling in that particular round. Now, Bank is a map that has become more defender-sided over time, as is everything, as you note regularly. A 3-3 split, I would say, probably benefits FaZe more than anything.
Certainly does. I think that last round, the information gathering was the real flaw for Reciprocity. I mean, Mark was the primary information tool, and what was he doing? He walked into square, completely exposed, not knowing that they had already lost control of it. I don't know what was going on there for Reciprocity, but lucky for them, they don't have to defend again. They're going to get to go on to attack, and it'll be FaZe's turn. I say lucky, but again, yeah, you're right. Ending a half 3-3, FaZe is in the driver's seat here for this map. At least for now.
This conventional wisdom, which has not been so conventional this weekend, seems to suggest.
Yeah, exactly. No. We discussed it many times. It's hard to predict these things. Reciprocity going to be taking into the main lobby. They have to clear out the top 2 floors before they hit the bottom one. And that's going to start with droning. You can see Mark the Shark doing that for Skies. FaZe as well. Laxing, a third droner. Got Retro even on the top floor. The only one moving in right now is Skies.
Fearless.
Yeah, and he's making it work. I mean, he's got control of the entire top 2 floors, and it took them a minute.
Who's on cams here? There you go. Astro was watching the cam to see if somebody was going to push on up, and Mav is also on the cardiac sensor to give Astro information. Skies is going to make very quick work of what little utility was situated over by the top of server stairs. 2 ADSs, it appears there might be a third, obscured by the casing around the rifle. That is in the hands of Astro. His position given away, and there's Laxing at any moment to possibly pull out the lifeline and aid his teammate. Skies falls off. So the Ash will forego the conflict on the stairs. And the ADSs will get burned trying to get maximum usage out of that lifeline. Looks like Astro has also fallen off. So everybody basically looked like they were going to push onto server stairs. They've fallen apart.
We're seeing Retro actually opening up the elevator drop. This might go unnoticed. It's entirely possible. Depends on the positioning, but no, it will be noticed. Thank you, Yuna, for being positioned where he was. He should call that out, and it should be a known factor for FaZe. They also, because of that, should defend against it. But I don't know if he noticed it. He was in a position to do so, but I am not 100% sure. Mark's going to start droning himself in here through that elevator drop. He could come up from behind FaZe if they aren't holding the drop down. We'll see. Joe's going to go into B, but does not notice the player there on main stairs. It's going to be the Jaeger spotted out by Skies, and that could be a free kill if he decides to make the play. It will be the other way around. Astro takes down Skies with an aggressive push despite the knowledge that Skies had.
If somebody had been droning Skies in, that's almost a guaranteed kill.
Oh,
There's going to be another now. Astro just making life miserable for Reciprocity on the main stairs. It's 2 kills for the Jaeger, and he will continue his victory lap. FaZe unable to make it through the window as his hurdle is cut down at the knees. Astro picks up his third as Moringa had gotten one previously. And, well, Laxing in a lot of trouble. Drop through the hatch will likely be an attempt in vain. And there you go. He hits the deck. And Yuna sits him down even further. FaZe will take their very first lead here on Bank. And in fact, their very first lead of the series. It comes at a pretty good time.
Wow, Reciprocity, some serious mistakes being made there. Skies, I'm sure he's saying something along the lines of what you were just mentioning. If somebody had been droning Skies in main stairs, Jaeger would have been shut down. The round would have been way in Reciprocity's favor. But a lack of droning is the flaw for Reciprocity. It's the same thing we saw same mistake we saw being made by FaZe in the previous half, and now being repeated here from Reciprocity. They didn't also drone into B. They checked B, but no drone went into B, allowing for a free kill for Moringa, just proning underneath the double window. That's pretty easy. So yeah, Reciprocity thinking they had a window there, and it was not a window of opportunity, but a window to death, and they lost the round because of that. CEO, the next defense here, very likely for FaZe Clan, and that'll be your standard split. Winning the basement, again, is something you should be doing on Bank. Should be doing. So it's not exactly the end of the world for Reciprocity, but I agree with the tactical timeout timing from Reciprocity here.
I agree. Try to center yourself. Don't allow the momentum to build on FaZe's side of things. I think it was a mistake that FaZe didn't use theirs in the first map on Coastline.
We talked about that, yeah. It was
and I think
bad.
that, you know, whether they gave up or not, still not ideal. You have it. There's no penalty in using it. Just use it. Just use the timeout, you know?
This is interesting. Trading one information op for another. It'll be a pulse into a clash.
Locked in.
Very curious. The pulse has been useful for both teams throughout this match. Not amazingly so. Not getting a bunch of C4 kills from below and whatnot, but he has been very useful here on Bank, and we haven't seen the clash yet, but there's potential for the same to happen. Again, clash is an information op. One of the many information ops on the defensive side, and she can put your team in a good position.
Latin America,
her, right?
Latin America in particular really likes using her.
Yeah, it's true.
Saw Ninjas in Pajamas run her a couple times.
There's no SMG.
Oh, that's
got to be a mistake.
There's no harm in using it, Astro.
Yeah,
Astro.
One of the things we've been talking about actually through this tournament is that Clash is getting more play. Why is she getting more play? Because her SMG is amazing now. Like, it's one of the best SMG sidearms, period. It's got little to no recoil, kills quite efficiently.
Decent damage,
high rate of fire. So
she's got a shield on her back, so she's at least invulnerable from one position.
Yeah, if she's got the SMG out. But the pistol, you know, it's a good pistol, I'm not going to lie. It's got a great optic, but
it's an okay gun. It's just in my opinion, the SMG is better.
It's kind of objective.
In every way, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've talked about this in the past. One of the most relevant stats in this game, probably in terms of gun balance, the most relevant stat is rate of fire. And I don't know. Anyway, that's just an aside. We'll move on. curious from Astro. I'm guessing it was a mistake. Like he didn't check
probably, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't check his loadout.
One of those things where you're like, oh, okay.
Whoops.
It was when Wog, all the way back when Wog was on Glass and he had the other pistol, and I always forget the name of because don't use it. Use the PMM.
Well, I mean, both are good. One's got a lot of ammo, the other one does a lot of damage. Reciprocity in the main lobby real fast here.
A minute on in, you can start eating away at the utility that's going to be at the top of the main stairs. Mav goes down to Laxing. Say goodbye to your Maestro, say goodbye to the cams, say goodbye to the ability to move them in any meaningful direction. It also looks like the castle barricades that were set up by Yuna have all been taken out too. That's good usage of utility here, and Yuna just unable to win a slugfest against Skies on the main stairs. The Reciprocity has good control, as you said. Excellent timing to get into the lobby. They circled around the top the stairs, looking all the way to the lobby, and now they got control of Banana. And ironic that a Banana will be ran on the gun as well. So FaZe literally has control of Banana with a Banana for scale. Not too far off.
Bulletproof camera is going to be very useful in calling this out, but of course, easily dispatched. Clash's primary function as a shield will not be what you need here. The pistol from Astro takes out Skies. He doesn't need an SMG, but he's punished, but on low HP, and as a shield, that is terrible. It's still a power advantage for Reciprocity, despite that flank being successful from the shield because of the HP. Speaking of which, Moringa will be down, likely by FaZe. Astro finished off, and it's just Cameraman as Moringa goes with him. Cameraman's on a long flank, though. Nobody's watching this. It could be an easy one. He takes down the defuse holder. Going for a second. Smokes to cover. We still have Laxing on rappel. The C4 looks like it might land, but no! A perfect dodge there from FaZe. Cameraman's trying his best to play this, but the smokes are still in from FaZe. Laxing's still on cover. He's got calls from the cameras, and the marks are coming out constantly. Another one for, no! Cameraman, the low damage, he doesn't down FaZe. A terrible result from that engagement, but the follow-up will eliminate Laxing, who repelled into the building. FaZe going for the plant. Looks like he's gonna get it down, but in a bad spot. No! Cameraman, what a clutch! FaZe take the round. A beautiful play. No commitment from Reciprocity, and they will lose every 1v1 against Camera.
So poorly played there by Reciprocity. Excellently played by FaZe to be able to have the marks through those Evil Eye cams. You lose Mav early on, okay, but you still have his gadget persisting. They can see through the smokes. You got 3 bodies from Reciprocity. Put 1 person on a drone. Figure out where Cameraman is. He's a 3 armor. He's not exactly a stealthy guy. So what do? You just commit to 1v1v1s. And nobody seemed to know where Cameraman was. Cameraman doesn't even really play Mira, but he makes it work. A beautiful first shot, starts that ball rolling, and nobody bothers to stop it from Reciprocity. That is a massive confidence boost from FaZe, and more importantly, has blunted any level of momentum that Reciprocity thought that they would have from taking that tactical timeout and regrouping. It's a tilter, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Really well played by FaZe overall to be able to take that round, based on what essentially was an almost unwinnable situation. In a 1v3, with utility still on the board, good guns, and information that could have aided Reciprocity. It was a stumble from one team and a capitalization from the other, and it was the perfect storm for FaZe to be able to take that round.
10 seconds
Excellent clutch from Camera.
Yes.
Period. I mean, there's something to be said about the fact that he only got the 1v1s, but winning so many subsequent 1v1s, that's an impressive feat. And, yeah, well done to him. I do think Reciprocity played that pretty poorly. They had a lot of other options. For example, the Jackal at any time could have just picked up the diffuser and planted deep in sight, far away from the Mira, behind cover. But instead, and Laxing could have stayed on North Rappel. Honestly, he could have. He didn't need to come in. Plant goes down, under cover of smoke. Laxing still on the rappel. It's an unlosable situation for Team Reciprocity. But instead, they try to commit to 1v1 fights, one after another. Maybe a little bit too much confidence on the side of Team Reciprocity. They've been winning a lot of their gunfights, so it makes sense. But whatever the case be, poorly played there from Team Reciprocity. And they're going to have to change the mindset moving forward, because as you said, that is a tilter. That's an argument starter. And hopefully for Reciprocity and their fans, we won't have any of that going on right now.
Here's the thing, too, that Reciprocity has always struggled with, is that you have control and you don't get the plant down. That's it, right? You have control of sight. I know you don't know where cameraman is, but you got 2 bodies to possibly try to look. Why are you taking so long to go in? You know that it's a mirror. You know that the Vector has a very small magazine.
Drones up and running.
I mean, I don't know. I think that was the wrong call to hesitate. But it's a good start yet again for Reciprocity, and more marks will come in to try and enable FaZe to capitalize on a second kill as he starts with number 1, taking out cameraman, whose clutch is repaid by an early grave. Lots of time for him to just sit on the sidelines of this round in particular. It's a lead for FaZe, and they will stretch it if they win this round to match point. Propel us towards Consulate as map number 3, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done by FaZe here. CCTV will be opened up after this round, so a possibility of FaZe being able to go down to the one site that has been perfect for the defenders so far. 3 plays, 3 successful defenses.
Mav's in a really powerful position. He can use his C4 through that drop down. Meanwhile, Astro's going to eliminate Skies, so back to even man count. Yuna's on low HP, but Mav could potentially pay this back and then some if he plays it right. Astro gets his second, eliminating FaZe. Astro has single-handedly retaken the top floor. Retro's still up here, whether he knows it or not, but already 2 bodies on the floor. It's a successful late roam, period. Retro's looking the wrong way. He could be the next victim, but no, it's going to be Retro coming out on top. Astro looking through the holes made by the attackers. Reciprocity are back in it, but again, not an easy take. Lots of utility in hand for FaZe, counterplant, and such.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Off-site, going to be 2 of the FaZe players, but they can deny from the main stairs. Mav is going to take out Mark, Retro onto Yuna. It's back and forth with these teams, but Laxing an excellent shot on a Moringa inside of Archives, leaving just Mav with no C4. He missed it earlier, and he's going to have to come back to site. The question is, where's the plant going down, and will he have time? It's going to be very close with the Legion Trap, and he's planting an exposed position. Mav could deny it. Depends on how the cover is for Laxing. It's going down, though, and Mav's not going to be able to get it in time. Now he has to retake onto a 1 versus 2, but he checks the wrong angles. Laxing locks him out, and Reciprocity will take that attack.
Once again, what ended up happening in that round?
Efficient roam clear.
No, almost no plant again for Reciprocity.
I mean, it was a slow plant, yeah, but it was also an efficient roam clear to allow for the plant. I mean,
the fact that Astro retook, there was an end.
It won the round.
The start of Reciprocity's push there was pretty good. FaZe walks in and takes out cameraman. Astro gets spotted. FaZe is there. He's a jackal. You can track him. There's drones. You can continue to track him. But then Astro somehow manages to evade all of it and come back, as you said. Good counterplay from FaZe. The mid-round was a bit of a struggle for Reciprocity. Both teams lost some. And then when you look at the very final dying seconds, once again, in clear sight, you have no idea where Mav is, because Reciprocity, yet again, doesn't realize they have sight control. So it's been the story for Reciprocity so far through most of this tournament, too. They just don't know that they have control.
I mean, they've had some of the best roam clear in this whole tournament, and they're kind of leaning heavily into that. They won the round, so I guess that's all that really matters. But they also would have won that last round if they had done, as you were saying, just went for the plant. So this would be a match point situation with FaZe Clan. Pardon me, not match point, but we would reversal scores with FaZe Clan in a 4-5 situation rather than the 5-4 situation they have right now. But yeah, there's a distinct lack of focus on the objective. I agree with you. It cost Reciprocity once. It almost cost them again there. There's a slow retake from Mav, though. Needed to commit a little bit harder to denying the plant. All said and done, though, I think it's something that Reciprocity will need to work on moving forward. Maybe find themselves a dedicated planter, as many teams have. Think about Goga from G2, for example.
Reload!
CCI plant.
CCI plant, yeah.
Quite literally. Like I said yesterday,
Reciprocity needs a Goga.
I feel like he's like a cyborg.
Yeah, because Goga also frags. And Reciprocity, they've got the fragging down. They need somebody who can play the objective.
All right. Round number 10 will leave us with 2 more after this unless we go to overtime or unless things finish up here. And once again, it's been a quick entry for Reciprocity to take control of lobby, to be able to get control of that most of that second floor, it would appear. And with like many teams will do, FaZe is going to use their 2 off-site presences on the server stairs and then 1 down inside of server as well.
They should be able to win this server hold to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Bank has a site that is now also big enough for 5 people to play in.
Yeah. Last time we saw server defense here from FaZe, it was an excellent play from the Jaeger to make the push up the main stairs, though, and I don't think that's going to happen again.
And it looks like Mark is actually droning in Skies, but Skies goes on to drone as well. White, Laxing is there too. He got 3 drones now. They realize that Skies droning himself in on these stairs, Michael.
They're over droning now.
They're over droning. It's like they say, over drone, under deliver. I don't know. See if Skies can capitalize, but now he's droning himself in. As 2 bodies are spotted through the wall, reinforced, so you can't really do much to shoot either of them. Skies is prone to a possible jump out. Pulse gets spotted as Mav retreats from the server side over towards gold. Good position to be in.
Get a lot more thorough on this drone work, and they're going to have a lot of information in the site because of that.
Moringa doesn't really have a way out at the moment. He's going to have to hope that somebody on his team can just trade him off, because Moringa's lying just completely on his back watching the garage.
No one's covering the cross from main stairs either. Skies could flash Moringa, run into B, and take out Moringa easy peasy. Astro would probably refrag it, but it could be a really important entry.
Cameraman was in a position where he possibly could have tried to hold that doorway, but now he's distracted by Laxing. So Reciprocity don't know once again. They have this info. Mark takes out Astro and Moringa is prone. Is Mark going to be able to see the smoke? No, he gets the wrong call, and Moringa pops up, and down goes Mark. As Skies felled on main stairs will swing the pendulum back towards FaZe. As Cameraman still playing in garage, as Yuna picks up kill number 2 on the retro, and Reciprocity will now struggle. As Laxing will have to work against a long angle. If he has an ACOG available, playing around that pillar. FaZe inside a vault, looking for a kill of his own, but the diffuser is down, and they are just frantically trying to do anything. This is a lockout. FaZe takes the round. Match point for the Brazilians. And Michael, we are looking almost assured of a 3rd map between these 2 teams.
I absolutely love that the man winning these rounds on the basement defense for FaZe is Moringa. And how is he doing it? It's prone underneath the window. Yep. Prone underneath a window that Team Reciprocity know he is playing prone underneath. It's a predictable position and one that should not work, but somehow it is tripping up Reciprocity. The supporting cast around Moringa, though, is also a huge factor. As every time somebody from Team Reciprocity focuses on taking out that smoke, it's somebody else to play the off angle from FaZe and lock out the support from Reciprocity. It's a really good hold, all things considered, from FaZe, and it's curious that it's working not only because of the way Moringa's playing it, but also the way that Reciprocity's attacking it. We don't usually see back takes on the basement, going through the drop downs from main lobby and the elevator. It's a bit of an oddity.
When we do, it's usually a full commitment. It usually involves dual hard breachers to be able to take out all the hatches that are necessary, drop through vault, take control of vault, ensure that if there's somebody playing in gold, which usually will be, a pulse gets spotted, and then you just fully commit to it, take B. And I think the way the setup from FaZe was, they read that it was going to be more of a vault take, and that's why Mav was recalled over towards gold, because the bodies didn't line up for Reciprocity over by the server stairs. At that point, when you're halfway through the round, you realize, hey, they're probably not coming from this direction any longer. So let's move our resources. It was a good read by FaZe, and the right call to make, ultimately in hindsight.
I think Reciprocity could do with maybe some late flanks. There's potential for it, but that basement attack has looked pretty bad for Reciprocity both times, and I'm not sure it's going to matter in the long run. We'll see who knows. We might not even see another defense at the basement from FaZe Clan, the way that this is looking.
I feel like the late flank is Laxing's job, though, too, right?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, he's coming from the garage, but it hasn't been working out. His timing on the garage has been pretty bad. Not necessarily his fault, possibly a problem of communication, but also FaZe Clan playing that pretty well in the basement, I have to say. The Maestro always getting away with his life.
I mean, you don't have a Valkyrie available, so you're likely going to either have a mirror window or an Evil Eye cam. Or
they had an Evil Eye, yeah.
Yeah, and they had the Maestro as well of Cameraman playing in Garage. So Garage is never going to be free either.
He got it with the Sophia, but it wasted so much of Laxing's
Well,
time.
it gave Cameraman's position away, which is what Skies could have possibly pushed Moringa, but I don't think there was just any information whatsoever. Now, there's a Jackal track going on to Astra, who's playing inside of that elevator on the 2nd floor. 2 ADSs are also there. And it doesn't look like any of them are getting burned out because none of these throwables from Reciprocity are going in that direction. There's a Nitro cell waiting to take out a smattering of Reciprocity players, and there's Astro, who's finally been seen and spotted. Remember, he was getting Jackal tracked, so they know he's in there. Could pop out at any moment. He's going to give his position away with a preemptive fire, and he's got the hatch open. He'll drop. Now he can begin to ascend up those stairs. This could be a great flank for Astro if nobody is watching.
That drop was isolated, and then Team Reciprocity left it. That's a huge misplay from Reciprocity, and Astro's now coming from behind in the main lobby. He has marks, and he's gonna miss Mark himself! What a shot from the Shark! Astro goes down, the flank denied, and now Reciprocity are in a great spot. And we have 45 seconds to make this attack happen. They don't have any soft destruction from Skies any longer. Sophia could potentially still have some lifeline, though, available. Yuna playing in Meeting Hall. He's got those marks. Lots of information. Exothermic charge here on the solo hard wall. A wide peek from Yuna, and he's not spotted in this play. But he gets knifed from FaZe entering into Meeting Hall, who has now full control as he gets another one on the Mav. Cameraman going for the refrags. He's done it once before. Can he do it again? Gets one. Retro, though, under Moringa, leaving Cameraman in an ace clutch situation. Or it will be Reciprocity's round, and it's going to be denied. FaZe with another frag. What a round from him and Reciprocity to take their CEO take.
I was wondering if we were going to see lightning strike twice there with Cameraman being able to clutch again. But the odds were not in his favor, and especially when we saw the allergies that Reciprocity has when it comes to planting the diffuser with full site control alleviated, at least for this particular moment.
Took their meds.
They did take their meds, indeed. So a moment of clarity, if we can say, for Reciprocity to be able to get plant down successfully. And when you're in a 1v4, you know that there's a very high likelihood that surely somebody is going to be able to cover you. You think the same of a 1v3. There was a massive amount of utility that was utilized by FaZe to stop Reciprocity from transitioning from the top of the main stairs into Banana into that office and then towards the site. Bit of a buffer zone that was established. 2 ADSs that were inside of the elevator that Astro was sitting in. I don't think a single one of those ADS charges were burned.
Bit of a waste.
It was a bit of a waste because I think that FaZe was anticipating that Reciprocity would have fully committed to clearing out the elevator. But instead, they punished the player in there by ignoring them, isolating them, and Mark hit an incredible shot, let's be honest, onto Astro in a fight that Astro really should have ended up winning.
Yeah, Astro was in a good position there. Mark was playing general flank watch,
10 seconds remaining.
but that's a little bit unsafe. Again, if Mark had just been sitting in the elevator where he knew a player to be above him, he could have just taken out Jaeger when he fell down, but he won the fight. That's all that really matters in the end. So well played to Team Reciprocity, covering all their bases. FaZe on the entry into Meeting Hall. Beautiful. Seriously. I am surprised by how little control FaZe Clan had over Meeting Hall. I think it had to do with what Yuna was trying to do in that Meeting Hall as the castle. Bit of a misplay. He was playing around the exothermic charge. He heard it being planted, and he positioned himself poorly. Also, he lost control over the doorway of Meeting, allowing for easy kills for FaZe. This is also cool. I mean, Jackal left unbanned. It's worth noting that FaZe did ban Jackal in the previous map.
Reciprocity's used a Jackal every round with FaZe, right?
Yeah, and Reciprocity now gets to play Jackal. They really do like Jackal. It helps them on the roam clear. It's one of their primary information operators for the attacking side. So it's funny that FaZe ban Jackal on Coastline, but not on Bank of all maps. I mean, the Habana ban makes sense for the basement, but still.
It seems like a Jackal ban on Bank is pretty common for a lot of these teams. But
yeah, you don't say.
Not really the case here. All 3 of the castle barricades, if we transition in towards what's on our screen at the moment, of FaZe Clan, were used on Banana. The 4 windows that are there, 3 of them have been castle barricaded. You lose one, the soft destruction that Reciprocity has. There's also 2 ADSs in that doorway to prevent a possible push. The mirror window that was aiding Cameraman is gone, and FaZe expecting a rush out from Conference. We'll try to light somebody up. There's nobody on the other side of it. He'll be on surveillance, as there's a bulletproof camera. Logic bombs will try and keep everybody in place from FaZe. FaZe is just the spearhead at the moment. Heading on in, waiting to see if there's going to be anybody that is dumb enough to try and peek C7E. But for the time being, no. Nobody coming close.
Yuna again on this position. He's got a broken mirror window to play with, and he's going to lose some HP in that engagement. Sky's droning him out. FaZe on the long angles trying to poke some holes in this defense. Nothing happening yet, though, for Reciprocity, despite having control of reception already.
Yeah. And it looks like we might be in a stalemate right now. A C4 goes out. Sky's bottom fragging for his team. Will need to find some motivation. And he just might, as both Cameraman and Astro will come back. If there's nobody on flank watch, this can get bad real fast, and there isn't! Cameraman grabs 2! No one's watching, and the blind spot is exploited as now Astro tags himself in. And FaZe have everything working in their disposal. Down goes Laxing, and Skies will need to perform a miracle in order to send his team to overtime. Only 15 seconds left, and there will be a tense moment to see what Skies is able to accomplish. He doesn't have that diffuser. He's just gonna sit and wait. You have the match on the line. Do you do anything? Do you bother to push it? Doesn't appear so. No, it will be an anticlimactic finish, and they will hand FaZe the map, and we will barrel on towards Consulate for these two teams. And Michael, it was as close as we predicted, even though for a time being, it didn't really look like it was going to be.
So, would have been nice to have Mark in main lobby, huh?
Would have been nice to have a
flank watch.
It would have been nice to have flank watch.
That's what I mean. Mark held on to the